If Tom Brady's not good enough for Bill Belichick, if a guy with the nickname Superman is not good enough for Bill Belichick, I can't imagine the things his girlfriend has to do to keep that man satisfied. Welcome back to another episode of Odd Man Sports, or as I like to think of it, Sports Off-Center. I'm your host, Brandon Perna. I'm also the host of That's Good Sports, another sports show on YouTube. I'm also the host of That's Good Sports Bets, a preseason football gambling show in which I dispense exactly one piece of advice. And it's the same every week. Bet the Ravens money line. In a related note, here's the new deck I built on my home thanks to Tyler Huntley and Trace McSorley. On this week's episode, we're going to discuss Stephen A. Smith's old partner, Josh Rosen's new lease on life, and the emerging crypto company I'm partnering with in hopes of making enough money to quit my job watching and talking about football. What a hard life I live. We've got Dinks and Dunks. Well, it's the end of an era as ESPN announced Max Kellerman is leaving First Take. According to the New York Post, co-host Stephen A. Smith was not enamored with Kellerman's smartest guy in the room attitude. Upon hearing the reason for the split, I thought of the perfect replacement. And since Stephen A. at this point needs an interpreter more than a co-host, here's the audition tape I sent in.
We all know that baseball, the sport of baseball, led by its players, are always the last to the party. Always the last to the party. They're so reluctant to change. They're always the last to the party. When I look at Ohtani, he is big time. Babe Ruth, 33 home runs, batting .279, got a 4-on-1 record with a .379 ERA as a pitcher. This brother is special. Make no mistake about it. But the fact that you got a foreign player that doesn't speak English, that needs an interpreter, believe it or not, I think contributes to harming the game to some degree when that's your box office appeal. It needs to be somebody like Bryce Harper, Mike Trout, those guys.
Shifting from America's supposed pastime, baseball, to America's actual pastime, the NFL, I'm happy to report the preseason is finally over. And while most of me is excited for the start of the regular NFL season, part of me will miss the period when I had enough free time to react to the Cardinals cutting ties with Picasso Nelson by making a cubist painting of the Arizona DB. Boy, that took a lot of work. So what did we learn this preseason? Well, a lot, okay? Kyle Pitts is the best tight end of all time. Jamar Chase is an all-time bust. And the NFL's new Iron Man, Nathan freaking Peterman. There are, however, still a few unknowns, none bigger than who will be the Eagles quarterback, Jalen Hurts or Gardner Minshew, which has replaced Pats versus Geno's as the biggest question in Philadelphia. My personal recommendation? Go with the Philly beefcake with the extra jorts. Some other preseason stuff I'll remember fondly. On Saturday, with the team's regular kicker, Kaimi Fairbairn, being held out of the game, safety Justin Reed kicked off for the Texans. Yeah! Reed said this after the game.
I had the time of my life.
And I never felt this way before, I swear. And while Reed's kickoff was to the goal line, which was impressive, it wasn't even the best kick by a Texans position player in my recent memory. This was from Hard Knocks 2015, and speaking of Hard Knocks, LeBron James tweeted after last week's episode that he wanted HBO to do a Lakers version. I love this show, but do you know what would make it even better? A big dose of me, LeBron James. As for Justin Reed, it was nice seeing him back in the news for something positive after the hot water he got in last year for this interview about being drafted by the Texans.
Coach O'Brien called me, and then he passed the phone to, I think it was Coach Cornell, and then he passed it to Coach Midget.
Dude, no. Midget is not the preferred nomenclature. What? What's that? Oh. Okay, Reed was referring to Texans defensive backs coach Anthony Midget. Hey, are we sure? Well, let's just move on before I get canceled. Over the weekend, Boston Red Sox infielder let's move on again before I really do get canceled. Speaking of the Red Sox, team closer Matt Barnes had this to say in a post-game press conference after blowing multiple saves last week.
At the end of the day, it's about winning ball games right now, plain and simple. I picked a bad time to start sucking.
I picked a bad time to start sucking. Why does that sound familiar? Oh, right, because even though Barnes probably doesn't realize it, he's making a reference from the movie Airplane.
Looks like I picked the wrong week to quit smoking. Looks like I picked the wrong week to quit drinking. Looks like I picked the wrong week to quit sniffing glue.
Random, yes, but this wasn't even the most random athlete movie reference of the week, because the Dolphins ended their practice by asking their players who is the best actor in Cider House Rules.
Who the best?
Oh, yeah, I know this.
I already know this one.
Tobey Maguire, duh.
Tobey Maguire. Tobey Maguire.
No love for Michael Caine, Devontae Parker? As for the quote of the preseason, I'm gonna give that to my Denver Broncos edge rusher Von Miller. Here's a quick multiple choice. Who was Von Miller referring to? Intimate time spent with his newborn son, Valor, or B, a series of intimate one-on-ones the team was nice enough to grant me with my favorite player.
You know, just a little wine here and there, but it's cool. I just sit there and I stare at them for 20 minutes. You know, that skin to skin, you know, when they lay on your chest is good. He made eye contact with me the other day and he kind of like followed me and smiled. It was good. It was good. It was dope.
Yeah, Vaughn, it was dope. It was so dope. And finally, the good old US of A may have taken its lumps the last few years, but I'll tell you where we're still a global superpower. Girls under 16 basketball. In the quarterfinals of the FIBA World Championship against Costa Rica, USA stormed out to a 42-8 second quarter lead, though the game was actually closer than the score indicated, because more than 2 quarters later, the score was 106-8. The US went on a 64-0 run and won its 5 games by an average score of 115-29. That's Fahrenheit to Celsius-like conversion of ass kicking. But a friendly reminder to not mention any of this information to Greg Popovich, because it really sets him off.
Blowing these teams out. That's never happened. So I don't know where you get that. Can I finish? Can I finish?
Money talks. Now this may surprise you, but here in the Perna house, I keep up to date with all the latest trends, like fashion. And let me tell you something, airplane references are also so hot right now. In NFT news, Steph Curry this week paid $155,000 for a Bored Ape Yacht Club NFT, which is a steal when you consider Odell Beckham recently purchased his own CryptoPunk avatar for a cool $2.2 million. Now, I absolutely didn't have to look this up, but CryptoPunks are a series of pixelated avatar NFTs, which are 3 words I didn't even know in my 20s. And according to this article, what makes Beckham's cryptocurrency purchase so unique is its particular set of features. Its 5 o'clock shadow, wild hair, and smile. So with the NFT revolution showing no signs of slowing, I have a big announcement. introducing Crypto Perna, a one-of-one, wild hair, smiling, digital avatar of yours truly. Now I know you have questions like, is it fungible? It is not, but it might contain fungus. Is it valuable? Like all Ethereum-based currencies, we'll let the market determine that. But if you're interested in a potential windfall, place your bid in the comment section. One note, this is the only currency with wild hair and smile I accept. Odd Man Out. In the first half of Sunday's preseason game between the Falcons and the Browns, Georgia fans found themselves in a curious position, rooting for a University of Florida quarterback, Felipe Franks, throwing to another former Gator, Kyle Pitts, which probably felt downright normal compared to the second half spent cheering for notorious NFL know-it-all Josh Rosen. A fact Chris Collinsworth mentioned on the broadcast.
I think that one good thing about Josh Rosen is he's sort of taken on some of his issues. One of his issues is not being smart.
Rosen's history of saying dumb things paired with a history of playing bad football has gone over about as well as a turd in a dorm room hot tub. But after seeing this introspective post-game press conference about his current approach, I couldn't help but root for the guy.
It's just like, show up early, stay late, study really hard, and grip it and rip it, hope for the best. I'm in the facility at least last week, sun up, sun down, and it's just like, I don't have a whole lot of more chances like that, so I'm gonna just put my head down and keep swinging.
This is a far cry from Rosen's famous "there were 9 mistakes ahead of me" quote upon being drafted 10th by the Cardinals. Later in the interview, Rosen revealed the 3-step guide behind his maturation process. The first 2, meditate a lot and maintain a positive outlook. Now that could be found in any New Age self-help book, but it's the 3rd step that convinced me Rosen might be a genius.
I owe a lot of my personal and professional development to Fitz and Ryan Fitzpatrick. Got benched in Miami, and then I was just like, all right, this isn't working out. So I was just like, I'm gonna follow Fitz around all day, every minute.
And coming soon to a bookstore near you, The Year of Fitz Magical Thinking. Following the most interesting and well-traveled man in the NFL around like a puppy is great strategy. Though he may have taken it just a little too far, because upon signing with Tampa the next season, this is how Rosen showed up for his press conference. After a year spent in Tampa in a QB room with Thomas Brady, followed by a preseason with Kyle Shanahan, Rosen's maturation appears complete, and he's poised to make the Falcons squad. As for how excited he was being out there on the field, slinging the ball around like old times, the older, wiser Rosen had this to say.
Yeah, well, the package kind of incidentally grew in the middle of the game.
Oh, damn. Josh Rosen has learned nothing. All right, that's it for today. Tune in next week for a deep dive into Sonia Curry's best options as she plays the field.